Hello again. So yesterday I was starting to talk about the puja, and I'm going to carry on talking about puja. Essentially I'm talking about the Sevenfold puja, which is a practice that we do at the Buddhist Center. And I was saying that for me, puja is just as an important a practice as meditation. So puja is generally something that we do with other people. It's the word puja meaning worship. But of course we're not worshipping a god. There is no god in Buddhism. There's certainly no powerful god that has any power over us. So what is it that we're worshipping? Well, we're worshipping the ideal of enlightenment. We're worshipping our potential. If you don't want to use the words enlightenment, we do all want to achieve our potential. And it's a bit of a mystery as to what that potential is, but we know that we can develop ourselves. I think everybody knows that, that we can become more aware, more loving, more compassionate, wiser, and so on. So the big aim of doing puja is to help ourselves connect emotionally with our deepest desires, with that potential, to connect really deeply. And I said yesterday, I was quoting Sangharakshita saying that we need to find emotional equivalents for our intellectual understanding. That it's all very well to learn about Buddhism, to read books and to practice the precepts and meditate, but actually we need to go deeper than that. We need to engage our whole emotional life. And I gave the example of when we fall in love, which you could see as a sort of madness. And we project, if you like, everything onto this person that we see as being pretty perfect until, of course, we fall out of love and we see them as being very human. So we can see that our emotional life is where our energy goes. And when we get in touch with the Dharma, often we can fall a bit in love with the Dharma. We find meditation and we think this is fantastic. This really is the biz. It's making us more content, happier, and so on. And we can have a sense of a bit of euphoria, but actually to keep going, to keep practicing, to keep getting up early every morning to go and meditate, even that is not that easy, is it, for many of us? And, how is it we keep going? Well, we keep going by feeding our faith, you could say. And faith is not blind faith in Buddhism. It's fed by knowledge, by information, by experience, by trying out. So we take in information, we make it our own, we experience the Dharma, we experience meditation, we experience practicing the precepts. But often there's a spark or intuition that feeds our faith first of all. So, faith is definitely grounded. It's grounded in our experience. So we have this initial intuition and we find out about Buddhism and something gets sparked, that we think, actually, there's something really important here. And it will get fed by doing this, what I call the Sevenfold puja, which many of you have done anyway. And Santideva, who wrote this incredible teaching called the Bodhicaryavatara, he maintained that the way to develop bodhichitta, the will to enlightenment, is through practicing this Sevenfold puja, practicing these 7 verses. And I say practicing because we don't just recite them; they are a practice. I'll say something about that. So bodhichitta, what is this bodhichitta? I'm not gonna go into that very much. I'm just going to call it a kind of eruption within ourselves of a vision of the transcendental. You know, a kind of emotional volcano of faith and turning towards, and yeah, it's very hard to describe. Anyway, it is this link that we have. We've all got this link to the transcendental if we can only feed it, if we can only find it. So the puja starts off with a verse called worship, and that connects us to our longing for freedom, our longing for enlightenment. And we turn towards the figure of the Buddha as being a representative of that. So we're not paying homage to a person, although we are revering the Buddha in terms of, he did it, he lived his life, gained enlightenment and taught for 40 or more years. And so he represents something very, very special, very special. And, just as you might bow to a kung fu master, in the same way we bow to the Buddha, because he's teaching us and he's taught us something that is exceptional, without which our life would be very, very different. So in the second verse, salutation, we more actively pay homage. We bow down. It's a mental bowing down. We show physical respect in between these two verses, worship and salutation, by going and making an offering at the shrine, lighting a candle or lighting some incense. So a very important aspect of the puja is an engagement, physical, mental engagement and emotional engagement. Body, heart, mind, the whole of ourself is engaged, and we're sharing that with others who have got a similar aspiration. So we're engaging in another world when we do puja. We're engaging with a world that's much less obvious, much less samsaric. We're engaging with the ideal. We're engaging with something that we trust in and that's going to actually help change our lives. So gratitude, as I was saying yesterday, is really important. I was thinking this morning that it's a bit like, if we're a moody teenager, we get to a point where we don't really appreciate our parents, We take everything very much for granted. And it's only when we're an adult looking back, maybe we've got children of our own, that we actually realise that it was really hard for our parents. And, maybe our heart swells with gratitude. We realise what they gave up for us, what they did for us, how they looked after us. And we look back and we think, we remember how we just took all that for granted, And it's similar in a way when we grow up spiritually and we see that actually this precious life we've got, and there we are, slumped in front of the telly, drinking beer, smoking cigarettes and watching box sets. Okay, I know we're probably not doing that, but we're doing somehow the equivalent, rather than making our human life, rather than fulfilling our human life. So I'm going to talk some more tomorrow about the puja, and I'll leave it there because I've run out of time. So gratitude in the spiritual life is enormously important, and we can see it as a sort of growing up, actually. Yeah. So I'll say goodbye and I'll see you tomorrow.